This is the spoiler-filled review, and trust me, you are not going to want to know spoilers about this movie if you have not seen it yet. Perhaps even more so than Endgame. So, if you haven't seen it, the spoiler-free review is down in the description below. Alright, so, this did a very good job of connecting the end of Avengers Endgame to Spider-Man Far From Home. I went to go see the Endgame re-release right before this movie, about 3 hours before this movie for our showtime, and I'm glad I did because it meshed together perfectly, seamlessly. It was like watching one long, 5 or 6 hour movie, and just even from the beginning with the Marvel logo, with the Whitney Houston "I Will Always Love You," I was like, wow, we're not even 5 minutes into this movie yet, and I'm already depressed with this movie. That was for fun. So Jake Gyllenhaal is perhaps one of the most fun Spider-Man villains that we've ever had. He is fantastic. And yes, I said villains, like I said, spoiler free now. I know how the trailers made it seem like, oh, he's a good guy from an alternate universe. I didn't buy that. I mean, I'm like, okay, well, there's a possibility. He could be a guy from multiverse, but Mysterio's a villain, first and foremost, in the comics. And he's one of the greatest, most dangerous Spider-Man villains ever. So there's no way they're going to make him the hero. He's probably lying, and yes, he turns out there is no multiverse, which I'm sad about because I was hoping that at some point we would get the equivalent of a live-action Spider-Verse movie. But never say never. We might eventually. I think maybe they were hinting at it that we were, but anyway, I'm disappointed on that. But yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal was really good as the villain. He was so fun. He did such a great job of being such a nice guy, and then the last third, nope, crazy. He was so good in this movie, my goodness. This probably had a lot of humor in this movie, too. It didn't need as much inappropriate humor as it did. I'm not going to say what they called the spider sense, because that would probably get my video flagged, because it's a very inappropriate name. But, it wasn't funny. And it's very awkward. I agreed with Tom Holland with Peter Parker in this movie when Aunt May calls it what she calls it, and he goes, please don't call it that, right? They need to stop having Kevin Feige name stuff, because Fat Thor is now called Bro Thor, and Spider-Sense is called what it's called in this movie. So he needs to stop being allowed to name stuff. He doesn't know how to name stuff. At this, he's good at, making the movies, but not when it comes to naming specific things. Just call it the Spider-Sense. I don't know if they weren't allowed to call it that because Sony has, a monopoly on that, and Sony didn't want them using it. I don't know. But they shouldn't have called it what they called it in this movie. It was just very awkward. Now, one review I did see said that they didn't like it because Peter has absolutely no character development. He's exactly the same at the beginning of the movie that he is at the end of the movie. I don't know what movie they watched, because that is not true at all. He realizes that he needs to stop being the next Iron Man and start being himself. There's some good character development there. And I loved how when he's making the glider suits, they start playing Back in Black. I was like, yes, thank you. And this is coming from somebody who doesn't particularly like Iron Man as a character, but to have that as a throwback to kind of cap it off of everything that's come to this, that was perfect. And I especially loved how at the end, where the mid-credit scene where you get J.K. Simmons coming back as J. Jonah Jameson, that was awesome. I just fanboyed so hard. I was like, yes, they're doing that. So that raises a lot of really good implications for the MCU, especially because now people know Peter's identity. Thanks, Mysterio. So I'm excited for that. And also, my theory, or at least a theory I saw that I agreed with. It wasn't my theory. It's a theory that I saw online a few months ago after Captain Marvel came out that I agreed with, that Nick Fury and, not Maria Hill, but Nick Fury was replaced by a Skrull, even though Maria Hill was too, but I was like, yeah, I kind of buy that. I was like, yeah, see, because he cuts his sandwich diagonally in Age of Ultron, but takes place after Captain Marvel, and then Captain Marvel, he said, if a sandwich is cut diagonally or if toast is cut diagonally, I won't eat it. And yeah, and everyone said I was crazy. Everyone said that theory was crazy, but it ended up being true, so hooray for me! Everyone was ticked that, first time I was ticked that they were wrong, that Fury was a Skrull. I was like, see, I told you he was a Skrull. So that was awesome. it just had a lot of really fun quips. I really enjoyed seeing all the different suits that they did. I loved it, and I loved how it was kind of very emotional after the set's like, okay, most of all the Phase 1 characters are gone. We're setting up for something new with this. I'm very excited to see what they have in store for the rest of the MCU, especially Spider-Man 3. We'll see what happens. I'm very excited. So I would give this movie a good 9 out of 10, a 4 out of 5 stars, and an A-.